You've just hit it on the head. Like, the willingness is absolutely key. Unless someone is willing, then we can't do anything, and it's just a massive drain on our energies. And vice versa, if a facilitator is not willing, not just willing to show up with their art, but willing also to be called out, willing also to be confronted and humble and on the edge, then that also is going to jam the process. We've all got to be willing in a healing circle, not just the clients, you know.
Welcome, Badass Manifester. I am so glad you are here. I'm your host and head coach, Ashley Gordon, master mindset and manifestation biz expert, founder of the quantum coaching certification, and multiple six-figure entrepreneur obsessed with empowering you to create quantum leaps in your energy, your life, and your business. This is the show to help you make magic your everyday normal, where the ripple effect is real and the guest experts are world class. My mission is to power your conscious and subconscious mind with manifestation teachings, business tools, and coaching techniques to put your potential into action. Consider this your weekly up level. Are you ready for quantum transformation? Let's do this. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. You know, sometimes I like to sing. I have to sing. That's why we have a voice, so we can sing. Duh. Today's episode is really important. It's a really important episode. I'm so excited for our guest. Her name is Chrissie Fire Mane, and she is known as the Fire Mama. For real, she is such a powerhouse. I actually found Chrissie because she was a leading lady on a show called Lost Resort. And if you just speak into your remote and say Lost Resort, it'll come up. And it's a show about these people that come to this retreat to do deep healing work on themselves. And just watching Chrissie's facilitation of these people that weren't super familiar with the work of never really did deep inner work, didn't really know what to expect. It was way outside of their comfort zone, and how she navigated that with all the other healers that were there taking play. There was a yoga teacher, there was an ecstatic dance teacher, there was an energy healer, there was just all these other amazing healers as well. And watching them do what they do was just so inspiring. And I remember scrolling on Instagram and I found her and I was like, oh my gosh, I would love to interview her. And just a little bit about her. She is the founder of the Mana movement. And basically, she is the founder of this movement that is a movement of awakening. And it's really powerful. Her website's called themanamovement.org. And what Chrissie is so passionate about is activating and rewilding humanity with modern and indigenous wisdom. And she literally bridges people to greater awareness of themselves. And she is a mother, she's a shamanic psychotherapist, she is a freedom pioneer, she's a musician, a poet. She really is a new earth visionary. And she draws from conscious motherhood and indigenous traditions to inspire her community back to the natural truth of things. And so that's what she shares in our episode. She shares her truths of what she knows to be true about our society and humanity and the direction that we're heading. And we touch on a lot of different things. We talk about plant medicine. I asked her a lot about the behind the scenes of Lost Resort because I was really curious. I had a lot of questions around how true the portrayal of it all was, how real that was for her, if she had any time to prep for it, if they really just the behind the scenes of, how TV is portraying the healing arts and, how it was being a facilitator of the other facilitators and holding the space for the whole group. Because I'm, a facilitation geek. I love to know the dynamics of how she was able to hold space for all those beautiful souls. And we also talked about her organization, Project Angel, which is such a powerful organization. She helps people that were human and sex trafficked, survivors, get back and heal their trauma. and help them, reintegrate into society. And it is really deep, important work. Like, this is like one of the darkest forces on our planet, is the fact that this is happening, sex trafficking and human trafficking. And it's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting and despicable. And all together, we have to put an end to it. And so I plan on giving back to Project Angel, to this organization, to support her in this work, because it's deep. It's really, really deep, and it's really, really important. So listen with your heart open, with your ears open. She has so much beautiful wisdom to share, and I highly recommend watching Lost Resort for sure. So without further ado, enjoy today's episode.
So I actually watched Lost Resort. That's how I know you.
Okay. Did someone recommend it to you, or you found it on your own?
All of my soul sisters, we all work in healing and facilitation and coaching and personal development. And so they're like, you have to watch Lost Resort. It is so up our alley. Like, that's literally what we do. So it was just, we were like texting back and forth, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm interviewing Chrissie. What do you guys want to ask her?
Oh, that's so sweet. Oh,
yeah,
I feel honored.
So cool.
Thank you.
I would love to know just a little bit about how you came to be Mama Fire. The Fire Mama. How did you become who you are today?
I think it was a slow progression, Ashley. We could probably talk about it, having been a cultivation of lifetimes. But specifically, if I'm just going to speak to the mother energy and the fire energy, I have felt like a mother since I was a little girl. I mean, I know a lot of little girls, and most have a maternal instinct. We have little dollies that we take care of as soon as we're like 2. We're ready to be a mother. Yeah. That was super strong in me. I was babysitting all the kids in the neighborhood, and like really attached to them, and really attached to the babies specifically. And as I sort of moved into my teens, I just noticed how much love and care I had for people, like how much I'd feel their heartbreak, how much I'd feel their wins. I was really like very conscious as a young one that, wow, I'm like engaged. I'm like really invested here in a lot of people, so I can definitely look back and say that, feeling like a natural mother, a natural carer has been here since I was a little one. Wow. And fire, the energy of fire being my medicine, we could talk about an astrological chart. I'm triple Aries. So I came in with a huge amount of let's go energy, whether I like it or not. That's just my blueprint. I can't change that. And then, within that, I just have an affinity to fire, being, the element of transmutation, of transformation, of the element as closest to ether and spirit as it can get, and so warming and so fierce. I just really identify with all that fire's got going on. So it's been a long time coming, I think, my sister.
That's amazing. That's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. It's interesting because I can remember babysitting, and like the moms would come home and just pour their hearts out to me. And I'm like, I'm 12 years old. Like, how am I responding like I'm an adult? I think it's just innately in us.
Yes, I love it. Yes, that's right. Yes, that's right.
So
I love it.
So you have the Mana movement, and I would love for everyone to kind of learn more about that. I was doing a lot of my own research. And at first I was like, wait, it is Chrissie, but it's really like your community, your sacred community to actually create just you coming back to your soul. Is that a really like high level way of saying it? I'm gonna let you.
Well done.
Okay.
Absolutely. So really simply put it, it's my kind of purpose and passion and contribution to the planet.
Yeah.
And that is really me and my closest allies, whether they're here in Australia or in Peru or wherever, creating spaces, creating circles, creating courses, retreats, sessions, visions, for people to come into where they can power up the most they can, the swiftest they can. And when I say power up, I mean basically come back to our nature as a human race. So step powerfully away from the egocentric Western society that has been, clobbering us as a humanity for thousands of years, really. Really powerfully stepping away from that, seeing how disempowering it is to us, and coming back to the most powerful parts of us, which sort of our indigenous are very well connected to still, but we got very lost, let's just say, the human race, and we're coming back. And so Mana movement is all about that, is just helping people find their soul again, and find what's really important to their soul, and therefore the collective soul of humanity.
It's so beautiful. I resonate with that so deeply. And, I think all of us as healers and teachers and coaches coming together, that's the main mission, right? That's what we're here to do. We're here to facilitate that coming home and awakening and enlightenment. And, as we've seen on Lost Resort, and as I've seen personally in my life, it's not always easy and it's not always pretty. It's actually pretty deep work that we do to come back. Would you agree?
Absolutely. I think that unfortunately, generally, we've lost our courage as a humanity. And so people don't want to be confronted. They would rather stay in cozy corners. They don't want to be uncomfortable. They want the red carpet rolled out before they'll take a step on the healing journey. They want to know that they'll get the results and without having to change much, actually. And no. It's very off track.
Yeah.
And to really grow and really thrive, we have to be challenged. And that's why, that really speaks to the initiation processes and the challenges that our soul is supposed to go through to grow. We're not getting that. That's part of the immaturity of Western society and this egocentric competitive societies. We're not getting the initiations. So people aren't growing up at all. We've got mostly a whole bunch of adolescent adults, big bodies, but still babies emotionally, really.
Absolutely.
They're not growing. And that's because, people don't want, they just want it to be easy and convenient. Yeah. We've come very far from our nature, actually.
So far. I actually took a Wim Hof workshop recently. Are you familiar with Wim?
Yes.
Okay. The Iceman. And the facilitator in the workshop said something that reminded me of what you said. And he was like, we're so used to being comfortable that when it's cold outside, we can easily adapt to it. We can easily adapt to whatever the temperatures are because that's how we were originally designed. He's like, but immediately now we go into fight or flight because we are just so used to being comfortable. So you get in the car, you're a little cold, put the heat on. You're hot, put the air on. He's like, what if it was okay to just be uncomfortable? Right. And that is just like kind of reminded me of what you were saying, just about how we're so conditioned to stay where we are.
Yes.
Not grow. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And to be honest, I think, one of the aspects of mastery, whether you want to call that life mastery, emotional mastery, manifesting mastery, whatever mastery turns you on, it's got a lot to do with flexibility and adaptability and our excellent attitude to not worrying about any challenge we're thrown, and to be able to, like you say, just be flexible. Like anyone, wherever we get brittle, like, oh, no, I have to be comfortable. We have to turn the heat on because it's got, we're so easily knocked around by the other energies that we're facing in society and on the planet. Our best one of our best allies is being bendable, is being flexible, is being able to shapeshift, really.
Yes.
That's akin to mastery. Yes.
Absolutely. And it's challenging. Like, this is a season in my life in particular where, it feels like everything is being turned on its head. People close to me are leaving the planet, and like just weird things are popping up. And it's like, can I trust and be flexible and have that behavioral flexibility that no matter what, it is for the highest timeline, for the highest good, for the highest path, and what's there for me to grow, and I think that so many people get stuck in not wanting that, not being able to see that.
Yes. And yes, that's absolutely right. And I think that points to, again, an emotional immaturity, in that, that challenge that you just mentioned, has an emotional response. Like every experience we have is an emotional one, actually, on the planet.
Yeah.
Everything we do as a human being is emotional, as an emotional experience. And we, again, we don't want that.
Right.
So many
We don't
people
want
that. They don't want to feel sad. They don't want to feel angry. They don't want to feel rage. They don't want to feel whatever we would naturally feel as we grow, or whatever we would feel as we naturally are confronted or have people leave the planet or whatever. Like, it's very natural that we fall to the ground and mourn and weep, or whatever we need to do. That is part of the growth. But people are wanting to sidestep that, and that is the growth. It's quite insane how so many want to separate our experience out of the emotional realm. It baffles me, and again,
it doesn't make sense.
It's just, again, so immature. It's just like, oh dear. Jim, what's going on planet Earth?
Where are we?
Yeah, right. Where the hell are we?
So funny.
Different realities, huh?
Yes. I have so many questions.
Really important, really exciting. We are relaunching the Big Coach Energy 3-day live training series. In these 3 days that are completely dedicated to you up-leveling your coaching skills so that you can stand out from the coaching crowd, you are going to learn how to quantum leap your transformation, the transformation that you're providing your clients. You're going to be, elevating your coaching craft. And on day 1, I'm going to talk about what it takes to create a 6 and 7 figure coaching business, and behind the scenes of the quantum coaching method, my method that I've created that's part of the quantum coaching certification. Day 2 is confessions of a world-class coach and the biggest mistakes to avoid in your coaching sessions. And day 3 is quantum coaching techniques and NLP, neuro-linguistic programming tools, to add to your toolbox. It's going to be pretty epic. I've had students who took these 3 days, who joined Quantum Coaching Academy, say to me, I can't believe you did these 3 days for free. And I do it for a reason. I do it because I truly care, obviously. I mean, you listen to the podcast, you know that I care about you and, helping you become the most effective coach, most effective creator of your life, most badass manifester that you could possibly be. That doesn't make sense, but you know what I mean. And these 3 days are going to be an absolute game changer in your coaching business. So if you're a baby coach, if you're a coach in the closet and you are like, oh my God, I think I want to be a coach, but like you're still afraid to step into that. If you're a seasoned coach, this is for you. It's for you. Join us for Big Coach Energy Live. Big Coach Energy Live. The link is in the show notes. It will also be in my Instagram bio. It's going to be beyond epic.
I'm curious what your opinion is on plant medicine.
Well, I am a student of a plant medicine of Wachuma, the San Pedro cactus. I pour that. I'm initiated, and I serve that medicine. So I have a very, very high regard of working with plant medicines. But I also am straight up with the experiences I've had and sharing with people that I do not think they are for everyone. Well, sorry, let me rephrase that. certain plant medicines I feel are master's medicines and are really only for people who are prepared for them. Others are good for everyone. So the one I just mentioned that I work very closely with, Wachuma or San Pedro, I think everyone should drink. Obviously with a very, very good guide, but it's for everyone. My children drink it, Wall Street bankers can drink it. It is a heart healer, and that is what we all need. Whereas there are some other medicines that are third eye medicine. They're really obviously very, very out there cosmically. And that is not best medicine for a lot of the human race right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so I see a lot of harm being done, a lot of harm. But look, we could argue, but that's their path. That's their lesson. Obviously there's so many angles to see that from.
Sure.
But as a mother,
yeah,
my role is to protect and make sure people go through, powerful initiations, but they're not in harm's way. And there's a lot of harm going on at the moment because we have a lot of uninitiated people pouring the medicines to people who really aren't even ready for it. So, there's a lot of sort of cosmic soup crap going on in certain parts of the world where the medicines are being poured a lot, portals are being opened a lot of shitty energies are jumping in a lot, and people are going home from ceremonies with more
trauma
heaviness on them than they walked in with. So, but having said that, when we work with these medicines in the right way, when we make pilgrimage to the masters in their homelands, when we take the time, when we don't just rush into it recreationally, when we really take the time not only to approach a master and to learn about the medicine and to drink it, but then to integrate what we've learnt for months or years before drinking again, then it can be a very, very powerful experience. And I recommend that. Yes.
I really appreciate your reverence for the medicine and really just honoring it and being an ally of it is really powerful. Is that what you served on the show?
No, we didn't actually have the insurance to serve the entheogenic plant medicines, although that is what they'd like to do in future seasons. Like that was the mission to so no, that was we drank mapacho, so the tobacco infusion, and some kava and some cacao. We worked with the softer medicines, but hopefully in the future we will work with wachuma. That's what I would like to work with. That would be amazing.
So there's future episodes coming.
Well, fingers crossed. I mean, there's no talk at present, but
anything's possible.
My original contract was speaking about many seasons. Wow. But that all depends on, how the public take it. That's so it's a waiting game. What I did understand from the executive producers is that it's a marathon. It takes a very long time. The show comes out, then it goes onto streaming platforms, and then it goes to other countries, and then it takes a long time, and it can take 2, 3, 4 seasons before it really takes off.
Yeah. So,
whatever. I'm
it was amazing. It was so good. It was so cool. I have questions about that too. And how did you, was that something that you were actively manifesting, or was that something that just kind of divinely happened?
That's a good question. I think it's a bit of both. I have been anti-media, anti-Hollywood, anti-TV, and anti most entertainment for decades. And so I'm the least likely person to be going out looking for that stuff. And I certainly wasn't. Yet, I got a pretty strong message from Spirit in my gut, instinctively, whatever you want to call it. I got this strong message, and it said, you've got to go into the belly of the dragon. That's what it said. You've got to go right in, and you need to take this medicine onto the screen. And I, at that point when I heard it, I assumed it was film. That's what I thought. I just thought, oh, okay. And as much as I was confronted by the message, I knew it to be true. I kind of like, it felt so right in my bones and soul that I was and am going to be doing more of that work. Oh, right then. And I put it on a vision board. I just put a little, an old-fashioned film camera, and I wrote around the camera on, on a vision board. I wrote around it. I said, the role that would help me help millions. That's what I wrote. And maybe 3 weeks later, I got the email from ITV, saying, we're doing this TV show. You've been suggested. Would you like an interview? And ended up getting the job. Yeah.
Wow. And if you weren't tuned into spirit and you didn't connect to that message, you might have just saw the email and been like, nah.
That's right. Well, when it's an international TV production, I probably would have clicked my ears regardless. But, the minute I read that email, I could feel the spirit of Wachuma, the cactus that I work with, tapping me on the shoulder and saying, this is me. This is me coming through to the people through you. And so I knew that I had to do it. Yeah.
Beautiful. So a little behind the scenes, what was that experience like to work with people that are not typically in the work? Because I'm assuming people that come to you and work with you are usually, they find you because they're on a journey already.
Correct.
Yeah. So I feel like this show is a little bit different.
Very, very different. But in fact, it's hard, how do I put it? It really only felt different in the approach, in the walking into it, in the sort of looking at their case histories prior, which I was obviously privy to as from the psychological perspective. I was, tuning into these people and learning about them. And in that part of the process, I remember feeling wow, these people are fresh to, this kind of work. Okay. To me, there was so much that they were sharing that was so obvious, that I was like, oh, they're not even aware of that yet. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Certainly not in a condescending way, but like you say, it was like in terms of levels of awareness, I was,
right.
It was like, oh, wow. Okay. These people are really fresh to this kind of work. But then the minute we got there and that opening ceremony started and I started meeting them, all of that just went away. It really did. And they just became, what they are and what we all are, which is stunningly exquisite hearts and souls. And I could cry thinking about them and thinking about people right now. Like, they are all so beautiful. And, and that's just what took over the minute I met them. Probably the only other time that I sort of maybe went, oh my God, like I'm not used to this, was with the gossip, really. When the gossip was really, which is, what they'd been used to, with in their lives, how, it was a sort of, used to that mode of operating. I've been very out of that for a very long time. So when that surfaced, that kind of, again, brought the feeling of, oh my God, I'm working with a new type of people. But it certainly, it wasn't such a big thing. It wasn't such a big thing.
How did you?
I see more of the commonalities really in us than the differences,
And that's why you are who you are and you do what you do, right? Because that's a gift that a lot of people only strive to, feel and see in others. And so I'm curious, as you were navigating that and going through that process, how do you feel like it strengthened you as, the facilitator that you are? Did it feel like it did? Did you feel stronger as, in your abilities and everything that you stand for, or the same, or just curious?
Yeah, interesting question. Yes, definitely I felt stronger. Definitely I grew with that
Yeah.
experience. I feel like I do grow and feel stronger with every experience I have, to be honest, because I go into it consciously to grow and to learn. So with that one, absolutely. And yes, it was actually, I think part of the growth was just the affirmation. Like I just got a lot of affirmation that love works, that the processes I use work, that anyone can slip into them. I knew all that, but this was just such another affirmation because, like I
Yes.
said, I've not worked with people so fresh, and it was just like they, you know, generally most of them just took to it all straight away. And I was like, yeah, this work is universal. And so yeah,
Yes.
that was very affirming. Mm.
And I think what I really saw in your process was really the art of meeting people where they are.
Mm.
And also, I tell my students this, but I saw it so much in you and just the way that the facilitators operated is like really trusting the process of transformation.
Mm. Yeah.
Like really like holding the vision and trusting that the process works for anyone if
Mm.
there's a willingness.
Ah, there you go. You've just
Yeah.
hit it on the head. Like the willingness is absolutely key. And unless someone is willing, then we can't do anything. And it's just a massive drain, actually,
Yeah, totally.
on our energies and vice versa. If a facilitator is not willing, not just willing to show up with their art, but willing also to be called out, willing also to be confronted and humble and on the edge, then that also is going to jam the process. We've all got to be willing in a healing circle, not just the clients.
Yes. So you didn't know any of the other healers and facilitators that were going to
No,
be
no,
with you,
n-
like your
not at
team.
all.
Wow.
No, not at all. And so, I mean, I had phone calls,
Sure.
20-minute phone calls with an executive producer with three of them. Um, and, and that was mainly just to, really get confirmation from them, which was very important before I signed the contract, that they would respect that I would be the only talk therapist because I was not going to mess with people psychologically by having two different talk therapists in a
Mhm.
retreat, because that is just highly out of integrity. And I would never do that in my real life. So I just had, even though they were dance and yoga and meditation, I just had to make that very clear. It's like, can you guys back me to be in that role and you stay in your lane? And they were like, absolutely. And
Cool.
I just absolutely. And so that was great. And then I only met Aqua out there
Wow.
right. We didn't even get to talk prior because there was actually a switch in cast, like right at the last minute. Yeah, so just met
Whew.
her out there. Yeah, so
Okay.
we were very much flying by the seat of our pants.
That's where the
Yeah.
magic happens. That's where the magic happens.
Yeah, the TV magic, maybe. Yeah.
So was there a lot that we didn't see on the show, or was it mainly like all there? I'm sure there was a lot.
No, a huge amount you guys didn't see. I mean, really, so in 10 episodes, it was 3 weeks of filming. And so basically 2.5 whole days went into one episode. And if you can imagine that, in those beginning episodes, they wanted to focus more on the drama because unfortunately that's where the mainstream audience hooks in. And so there's huge amounts of beauty and healing and even whole ceremonies that weren't shown. There was a sound healing that I did where Becca absolutely just cracked open and, like fully felt, there was a lot of powerful stuff, Thea hearing tongues in the sweat lodge. There were major spiritual wins that ended up on the editing floor room, which was a bit heartbreaking for us healers because we went in there for that stuff to reach the people. But at the end of the day, it ended beautifully and the message was strong and the healing was shown. But yeah, there was heaps.
I'm sure. And we were all like, all of my friends were texting. We're like, we just want to know what's happening behind the scenes. Like, we just want to know what all the things we're not seeing. Like, we want to see everything.
Oh, well, I'll tell you what, something I didn't show is how much, and I think they did that because they wanted to sort of present me and Atasia as being quite serious, which we are in our healing role. But we shared a casita together, and we pretty much roared with laughter every night. Like me and him would sit there and debunk and diffuse and just laugh our heads off and role play shit and just, we had so much fun together. And he was really my rock through that experience, I have to say. Thank you, Atasia.
Yes. Oh, love him. Oh my gosh, that is so cool. And I guess like my other question around this is like, was it challenging to navigate the different personalities of all the healers? Like, because I mean, of course they made it seem that way, but was that real?
Yes, it was real.
Yeah.
but not with all of us, like that mostly there was a very fluid feeling, and there's just a bit of difficulty here and there.
Sure.
And that wasn't shown fully. But it's hard to say. I would have liked, I mean, my intention was actually to look as a leader of a team. I don't usually work with teams on my retreats. Hey, so, I hold the space myself. I have my Peruvian medicine men and women come in for ceremonies and then they go again, and I just hold my group myself. So it was a very new experience, although I love teamwork. I absolutely love working with people. I'm very comfortable in that. But as a leader of a team, my commitment is to absolute transparency all the time, especially when holding space for others.
Yes.
And there was a time or two where I wanted to, bring the team together to air more of things that were going on. But there wasn't sort of an opening, let's just say. And also I had so much on my plate in those last days of healing. Like it was the most challenging thing I've ever done in my life by far. And I'm a very strong woman, Ashley, physically, mentally, all of it. It was so taxing. And by those last 5 days, so much had gone on, darling. We had dengue fever ripping through, people were dropping like flies. We were exhausted. There was quite a lot of push from the network to get certain results that I had to say, hey, no way. Me and Atasia had to really hold very strong against the industry wanting to control the situation. The clients are going through massive healings. I'm exhausted. I'm holding the whole damn thing. And so it wasn't my highest point to drop all that and just deal with 2 healers. I would have liked to have, but so there was some tension.
You know what that all sounds like? That all sounds like the belly of the dragon.
It was. It definitely was. But for me, the dragon is never the humans. It's never the humans or our human story. It's always the energies of spiritual control that come through these industries. That's the dragon to me.
That, I totally get that. I totally,
yes.
totally do. And you're right. You are a very, very strong woman. Just from what I've seen of you in the show and just the energy that came off of you, I just want you to know that you have really impacted our industry in such a positive way of, helping people and healing people. And like, this is amazing that this is even on TV. This is amazing. Like, it was a big deal for all of us to watch. And I'm friends with some amazing sisters who are all doing beautiful work in the world. And we were all just like, wow, like it's happening, and it's, it's cool. It's really cool.
Oh, that's so beautiful to hear. Well, gosh, tell them to write to ITV.
Okay.
Like
ITV.
support is needed, because it isn't in the bag yet, that will continue. And so much healing has come from it. And,
Yeah, it's powerful.
yeah. That's such a beautiful acknowledgement, Ashley. Thank you.
Yeah.
I really
Yeah, you're so
appreciate that.
welcome. I mean it. It's
Mm.
awesome. It's awesome. Oh my goodness, you're so amazing. So, can you share a little bit about like some things that you offer in case anyone wants to find you, connect with you? I know that they can go to your website, but what do you have going on that we can all connect into?
Oh gosh, I'd love to invite everyone to. There's two offerings that I have online. One is a 1 month experience, and the second one is a 2 month experience. Um, but they are online courses. The first is called Pathway to Freedom, and the second is called Manifestrix. And basically, I co-facilitate those courses with the woman who trained me, my healer, my number one mentor in love wisdom work and healing work. She is an absolute legend and very humble earth elder. And so these courses are, just one or two of these webinars is absolutely life-changing and mind-blowing. It is all channeled. There is no notes. This has got nothing to do with learning or intellect. It's all about in your seat awareness change that comes from me and Liz sharing around particular concepts. So to give you an idea on Pathway to Freedom, we go very deep into the concept of decision, of willingness, of guilt, of blame. These are all different webinars that go for 2 hours each. So
Wow.
it's not just, we pull apart the metaphysics of expectation. Like, what is happening to you and around you metaphysically while you are holding expectation? What's happening to you? So these concepts enable people to free, to
Yes.
truly free. So, when people talk about freedom and, they think it's about, doing something you love in the world. No, no, no. This is all an internal game. It's all, these concepts are within. And yeah, Manifestrix is similar. It goes for 2 months, but they are life changers. And really, people who are, high level healers that have had so much training come in and do these courses again and again,
Wow.
because they get so much out of it. And I also am getting so much out of it every time we do it. So we have a course coming up in May, in April and in May. And that's just a way also for, people to journey solidly with me and Liz, like we really get to know each other. A lot of really close friendships are made. I'm making powerful friendships and allies in these groups with people all around the world. It's really very, very special. So yeah, people can find out more about that on my website. But something I'd love to draw people's attention to is my Project Angel, which is on my website. And it's basically like a charity I've set up in the last few months to help rehabilitate victims of torture trafficking. So the torture trafficking is, just very quickly, the most insidious rings within human trafficking industry, and it's not talked about. There's very few survivors of this level of darkness, and I am working with a small number of these survivors. And so I have a project where people can donate to support these sessions financially, so these people can afford them. And also, we are helping them get across country away from, their traffickers and hunters. And so, I would love to just appeal to people to just look at that page on my website and listen to the video, listen to the testimony of the survivor that I'm working with about her experience and about Project Angel, because we're actually rehabilitating these souls, away from the black magic. And it definitely feels like the most powerful and the most meaningful work I've ever done in my life yet. And so in fact, I need support with that.
Thank you for doing that work.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for just having a look and letting people know, because these people are the most vulnerable on the planet, and there's no help for them. And I'm just learning on my feet, and it is dire. And, they need our help. They need our help. And so every little donation really does help. And, I'm praying that there's people out there that have big money that can really help us, because we're funding, work for them in the Andes with the medicine men and women. We're, doing our best to send them away so they can actually heal deeply.
Yeah, going on a full healing journey for their souls.
That's it, because that's what's needed, these poor people. So yeah, everything, all of that and more. I do individual sessions. There's lots that people can be, hooked in with. But yeah, it's all on the website or through Instagram. It's a good place to connect. I like using Instagram. So
yes, I love watching your stories. So yeah, where can everyone follow you on Instagram? Can you say it for them?
Yes, it's at the.mana.movement. So the Mana movement with full stops, or I think you call them periods.
Full stops, yeah, periods.
Full stops.
We will link everything up in the show notes so everyone can connect with you. Please, everyone, go donate. We have a very large audience, so I'm praying that everyone will just, even if it's just $1 or $5, just drop it in and support this. This is really, really important. These are the dark forces of the world that are coming down. So it's a pretty big deal.
That's it. That's exactly what we're doing, actually. Yeah. We're going up against the darkest energies, and there's massive wins in it for all humanity.
Exactly. Yes. Totally.
Yes.
I feel that.
Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your light with us and for being on this planet at this time.
And you also, sister. Thank you for everything you're doing. Have a beautiful day.
Woo! We did some work today. Thank you so much for listening. You know I love my BAM fam. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with someone who you know would love it too, because we live for the ripple effect over here. And how can you best support the show? Make sure you're subscribed, hit the 5 stars, and leave a review on iTunes, and let me know how the podcast has impacted you. I love being part of your real-time journey, so screenshot the episode and tag me and my guests on Instagram at ManifestWithAsh. Now say it with me. I am my own power source. I am the master of my own energy, and I deserve everything that I desire. We don't just talk about it over here. We be about it. Now go get 'em.